Welcome to the show, everyone, and happy Monday to everybody. I'm excited about having my first guest on who's been with me at least 6 years. She's also been a sponsor, and you have supported the show and been on here for so long. Thank you. I have with me Anna Von Straussenburg. It's Anna Von Straussenburg. She's the owner of Anna Von Straussenburg, CPA. It's a lot to say. First of all, thank you. And thank you for being here today, especially since you have been so busy. I want you to tell everybody first a little bit about yourself. We always have to do this. And then we're going to talk about what you want to talk about today.
Well, Carol, thank you for having me. It's always a delight.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just got through with a very the busiest tax season I've ever had.
Nice.
And I've been in the tax profession for this is my 35th tax season.
Wow.
I started at the accounting firm in 1990. 1991 was my first year experiencing tax season. I was a receptionist then, but then they quickly moved me up into an administrative position and then into an accounting position because they saw I had aptitude for numbers. And anyway, I had started off in kind of a teaching profession and decided to go back to school and learn accounting. And I made myself a goal that I was going to be a CPA by the time I turned 40. And I got really close to that goal.
That's awesome.
I finished my schoolwork actually in 1998, but in California you have to do 2,000 audit hours. So I completed my audit hours in 2000, and the week of my 40th birthday, we filed for the certificate, and I got it at the end of that year. So it was really exciting.
It is
exciting.
exciting.
I call myself a backdoor accountant because I had my major was liberal studies, but then I took all the accounting courses and then learned a lot on the job.
You know what? That's one thing that I love about you. But there's so many things, but you are all about not only educating your clients, but yourself. Okay, and when you work with people, you're very hands-on. It is not like you come in with some CPAs where you just hand them everything and then you wait till next year and you do the same thing again. No, you're very much hands-on and in contact with them.
Yes, absolutely. People have joked that I adopt my clients, and I've had some of the clients I've worked with them under my former boss. I bought him out of his firm when he retired, and so I've known some of the kids since they were born, and I'm like, oh my goodness, they're getting ready to go into college.
Isn't that
That's
crazy?
very surprising.
Yeah.
But yes, I've been at that same location since 2002, so that's 24 years.
And I have to say this too, for everybody to hear this. The firm that you were working at, not very often does the owner boss come up to somebody and say, you really are great at what you do. I would like to see you buy my firm. That right there is accolades.
Yes, he really had a lot of faith in me. And actually, he started grooming me to take over the firm, and so he had me doing a lot of the administrative stuff that the boss has to do. And some things I was like, I guess I'm so sensitive to people. I didn't like billing people, but he goes, you have to bill people in order to pay yourself.
Yeah.
And you're not
your bills. Oops. Okay, so you see what happens? A live show. So you know what, I want to say something to this, because we want to talk a little bit about what happens to people when they don't file on time. And I have to say this, people think that tax season is over. It's not over. It's not over. It's every day for the rest of the year and the years to come because of things that happen for people during the year.
Oh my, if you could see my office, the pile of tax returns I've got to finish. We spent most of Wednesday filing extensions for people who didn't get stuff in quite soon enough for us to finish it, and some people were very last minute. And then there were some people who, they just know I'll file them an extension. Mm-hmm. So we got a lot of extensions out on Wednesday. But what happens when you do an extension?
Yeah, what does happen?
Well, it's an extension to file your return, not an extension to pay. But what that does do, it reduces the penalties, because a late filing penalty is much steeper than a late payment penalty. The late payment penalty is only 0.5%. The late filing penalty is 5%, up to 25%.
Wow.
So you want that extension in there to protect you. Now, if you do not owe, you're kind of good to go. But I tell people, I don't like to take the chance because, well, we may think you're not gonna owe, but there might be something that comes up that you forgot about. You forgot about that 1099 or that other thing that happened. And so we always wanna make sure we cover people by filing that extension.
Right now, there's a lot of people that have many gigs, side gigs, not just their regular business that they might run or that they work for. There are so many people are trying to make money and make ends meet that when it comes time to taxes, now they have all of this stuff, right, that they have to make sure that they have to get to you.
Yeah, and so that's really important. And it's important that they get organized because, I charge by the hour and a lot of accountants do that. But, if they have a small business on the side, as long as it qualifies as a business, well, we need their income and all their deductions, and we need it somewhat in an organized fashion. I did have a client one time that came in with a great big shoebox of receipts and expected me to go through all those. Well, we attempted it, and after a couple of years, I was like, you know what, I can't do this.
Right, plus you're charging her by the hour.
Yes, that's true, that's true. So I try to, get people to be organized and at least do up a list of what their expenses were.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but it's good for them to have the have the receipts as a backup, but that's not how I'm supposed to prepare the return.
Now, your phone number for them to call is 480-964-4030. That's 480-964-4030. You do free consultations. You work nationwide. You also do second opinions. And that's a good idea right now to talk about that for just a minute because how many times do you find mistakes or money back or something that goes wrong with those the ones that people try and do themselves or what have you?
100% of the time. I have yet to find somebody who had a perfect tax return. And I'll have to say about 95% of the time I have found people money back. One person, going in, we kind of knew that she left some stuff off her tax return, so I couldn't really find her money back, and I actually did find ways that we could reduce her tax liability, and I did that. So in a way, I did find her a little bit of money back.
Absolutely.
But yes, I do try to look at the returns, and a lot of people, what they do is they do things that are more complicated, like maybe they work for a bigger company and they have what they call incentive stock options or restricted stock options. Well, those are really special things to deal with. And they say, well, I get the statement from Morgan Stanley or Wells Fargo Investments or, name the brokerage. Doesn't it show the basis? And I said, well, not all the time. It's not always all there for you. Sometimes what they do is they neglect to put in the portion that goes into the W-2. So in fact, if you don't do it right, you're paying extra tax that you shouldn't pay.
Well, I'll tell you something, when it comes to taxes, we think that, okay, after April 15th, everything is done. It's not. And especially for people who did not get their taxes in on time. We're going to talk a little bit about people who have not done their taxes in years. Check her out on her website. It's ArizonaCPAs.com. It's 480-964-4030. That's 480-964-4030. Hang tight. We'll be back in just a minute.
Good. Sorry about that. In all these years, I forgot to turn my phone off.
Oh, it doesn't matter. I
Yeah.
think it's funny. You can say, oh, she's
It's
giving a
one
call.
of your other.
I don't-
It was somebody I met here on the show.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
You know what? If I would have already given out your number, I would have said, oh, she's getting a call now. But because I didn't, I couldn't say that.
Oh, well, that's funny.
That's funny.
Those things happen. I always remember that, and today I forgot.
It's okay.
and usually it's rare for me to, I don't know, for right now to get a call in, but yeah. Oh, we just got so many irons in the fire right now, and I need to follow up on some little things for clients, and big things, and
Yep.
just,
Yep, things have
Yeah.
been kind of crazy lately.
Yeah.
With everything,
Oh.
everything, not just, this seems like in
even the
here.
weather's been crazy lately.
I mean, the other day it was
Yeah.
hot,
Yeah,
but
it's
it also
cool
was
up and
like
windy
hazy
and
out, a
hazy,
little
yeah.
windy.
Yeah. Yeah, yesterday I was sneezing my head off. Yeah.
My the owner of the house was trying to fix the pool with something, and he was out there cleaning it, because there we have this tree that drops all the, little flowers, and he's cleaning with the, a net. And I came out and said, you don't need to do this, because you know what, it's windy, I don't care, it's gonna, no matter how hard you will work, it's gonna come in, so just leave it be. He was
Yeah.
like, I guess you're right.
Yeah.
So all of those flowers, I was like going crazy myself, my nose.
Oh, yeah.
My shoes soaked. My favorite dress a disaster. My stress level off the charts. Yet my sink decided to share its water with my wardrobe. Thankfully, Drylots Restoration got here fast. They dried everything out, fixed the mess, and even made it smell normal again. Disaster strikes, don't wait. Call Drylots 24/7 for fast professional restoration services. 602-881-1398. That's 602-881-1398. DRYLUS.com.
So welcome back, everyone. We are live on Facebook, so hi to everybody out there. We're talking with Anna Von Straussenburg. She is the owner of Anna Von Straussenburg CPA, and we have been talking a little bit about people who have not filed their taxes on time. We've been talking a little bit about what the penalties are of that. Payment plans, so they can get a payment plan.
Yes, you can. The payment plans, you can, if you owe under $10,000, you can go online and do it yourself. And a lot of people, I find out, hey, they don't really owe tons and tons of money. It might be just $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, and you can go online and set up a payment plan quite easily. They'll charge a small fee. I think it's like $135.
Of course.
Might have gone up a little bit, but anyways, it's I'll say it's under $200. They charge a fee for that, but it's well worth it because it keeps you out of hot water with the IRS. And as long as you keep your payment plan current by making the payments on time, there's no problem there.
Talking about hot water, since you mentioned it, we're going to talk a little bit about people who haven't done their taxes in years.
Yes, well, I actually learned some new information recently, because it used to be that the IRS would only go 10 years back. And then, they said, we only want the past 5 years. You know what? I called in recently, and they only want the past 3 years now. So I had a client that actually breathed a big sigh of relief. He's got they'd filed, I think in 2018, and they had a big amount of tax due, and they're like, oh no, we don't need 2019 or 2020 or even 2021. We just want 2022, 23, and we filed 24 for them already. So they were kind of lucky because they were struggling. They had thought that their previous preparer had done something wrong. Unfortunately, because the information was so old, we were kind of not able to find out the full correct information, because sometimes just looking up stuff even on the IRS website doesn't exist anymore.
I'm sure. Right.
So we were struggling with that, and the agent said, well, really, that's so old, we're not going to accept any changes to that, but we're going to give you a break. And
That's
that's a
lovely.
real good thing to have happen.
Yeah,
So-
absolutely, you know, because there's a lot of people that have not done their taxes, they put their head in the sands because they do not wanna deal with it, because I think it's a fear-based thing,
Yeah.
right, you know, and they don't know what to do. Let me just say this, there's one thing is you need to call Anna. Do not try and do those things on your own. I know a lot of people do try to do it. I think the biggest reason is, number one, you have a relationship, that's huge, and you know how to talk to them. We'll talk about that as well. Go ahead.
Yeah, I really have gotten really skilled at talking to the IRS, and it's amazing how many times we can get penalties waived and stuff like that. In fact, one of the articles I was just reading this morning said, well, if you've kept your nose clean for the last 3 years, we can, or the 3 prior years to that tax year, we can, waive the penalty as a one-time adjustment. And that one time is really, it's actually not really one time. You can do it about once every 3 years. I call it the get out jail free card, because it just, no questions asked, will just waive the penalties. And so I've been able to do that for a lot of clients, and it's a huge relief for them.
I bet you it is.
Yeah.
I know you brought this paper today, and I wanted to make sure that, you wanted them to see.
Oh,
some
yeah,
of the-
so, yeah, this is the article, one of the articles I was reading today, and it says, actions taxpayers should take if they miss April filing and payment deadline. So basically, the main action is to do it as quickly as possible. And then if you owe to, like I said, have somebody like me call and ask for a waiver of the penalties, and then establish installment agreements. There's different levels, some of them require more documentation than others. If you get over $50,000, then you've gotta, submit a fairly large form that shows them everything, but then, then below 20,000, you don't have to submit quite as much, and below 5,000 or 10,000, you can even just do it online. So, there's different levels where you can get the established installment agreement, going through different procedures, and it's really the way to go, because it doesn't stop the interest and penalties, but then it starts the reduction process, which does slow it down, and then it shows the good faith effort, and then we have more ground to stand on when we file for the waiver of the penalty. Now, they'll never waive interest. Interest is always there, but the penalties can be waived, and when they waive those, that helps reduce the interest as well.
Absolutely.
So,
Her phone number is 480-964-4030. That's 480-964-4030. Check her out on her website. It's Arizona CPAs with an S.com. She does free consultations. She works nationwide. She's rated with the Better Business Bureau, and she also does second opinions. So anybody that might be questioning anything right now, let her do that for you, because 100% of the time she finds something either wrong that can help save you possibly, but also for people that maybe that they are owed more money as well. Most people can't do these things on their own. They really try, and I know they, obviously maybe if you have one, you work for one business and it's only a short time or what have you, I can understand that. But when have been working maybe for a long time, and you happen to complicated.
oh yeah, I do. I was just thinking about one of my favorite things. I have a lot of clients that own real estate property. And, there's things with that, if you try to do it on your own, it's a good chance you'll get it wrong. So a lot of people don't know maybe, how to depreciate their properties properly. Maybe they don't know, some people think that they can take their entire mortgage payment as a deduction. No, it's only the interest you get as a deduction. But there are a lot of questions we know to ask. And even the little people,
The little
the littler tax returns. I have a couple clients that are Uber drivers, and one of my staff was helping a newer staff member, and he said, well, you need to ask her, about her cell phone usage. She probably uses it 90% for business, you need to ask her, well, did she have to have some meals when she was out on the road? You know, things like that. They thought to ask some extra questions, and all of a sudden we saved that lady a boatload of money.
Isn't that
So
nice?
that was really exciting.
Now, I'm gonna mention my daughter as an example too. She's also one of the little ones as well. But I wanna talk about that for a minute, because as little as you would think, it's as complicated too, because she has different W-2s, right?
Yeah.
And so, the next thing you know, or she didn't know that she could write off things from her trip to wherever she had to go for the business that she's doing.
Yeah, and in certain businesses, what you can reasonably deduct depends on what kind of business you're in.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, in certain businesses where you maybe have to like look a certain way as part of the business, that's very important. Or, you know, where you have to travel to, you know, get extra work. And so you need to take all that into account.
Mm-hmm.
And so knowing the person's business is of the utmost importance.
And that is what we're gonna leave on this one, because that's great. One of the things that you do, that I don't know any CPA that does this, you actually go to a business, there's not all of them, but certain ones that are, you know, you go, I'm gonna go there and find out so I can understand it even better.
Yes, I have had a new client who was actually dealing with a fairly large firm, and they've been in business for over 50 years, and he said, I was the first CPA that ever asked to come tour their plant. So, yeah, that was very exciting. But yeah, I really get to know my clients, because the better I know them, the more I can help them.
Absolutely. Again, that phone number to call is 480-964-4030. That's 480-964-4030. So we're almost coming to an end for this. I mean, and I know for you, I know you've been so tired, but you look terrific,
Oh,
I'll tell you. But what would your advice be now that what we would consider tax season to be over? What would be real quickly?
Well, if you haven't filed your return and you're on extension or you're not on extension, my advice is to get your documents in to somebody like me and finish up those tax returns, because the longer you wait, the worse it's going to be. Those penalties accrue month by month, so they, you know, start on April 16th, but every 15th of the month, that's another month gone, and they'll add on an additional amount of penalties. So the sooner the better.
The other thing is, it'll be behind you.
That's
My dad
true.
would say to me, well, that's now behind you, Carol, you know.
Yeah.
And it's true, because once you do that, it makes you feel better.
Yes, it definitely does. I know even for me, when I get things off my plate, I feel so much better. So, you know, once you get that done, you'll be happier.
480-964-4030. It's Arizona CPAs with an S.com.